The little white chapel outside Lubbock smelled of dust and old hymnals. Emily stood at the altar in a borrowed dress, 2 sizes too big, tears sliding down her cheeks faster than she could wipe them away. 23 years old, 8 months pregnant, and marrying a man she barely liked because Daddy said it was the right thing to do. The right thing tasted like copper in her mouth. Travis waited beside her in his only clean shirt, sweat darkening the armpits. He kept his eyes on the preacher, jaw clenched so tight she could hear the grind of his teeth over the sniffles of the 12 people crammed into the pews. When the preacher asked for the vows, Emily's voice cracked on every word. "I, Emily, take you, Travis." The tears came harder. She couldn't finish. The chapel went quiet except for her ragged breathing. Travis turned to her then, not the nervous, polite turn of a groom, but slow, deliberate, like a man stepping off a porch to face a storm. He leaned in close enough that only she could hear, and whispered against her ear, rough as cedar bark, "Darling, I'll make you smile someday. That's my vow. The rest is just paperwork." She hiccuped a laugh through the tears, startled by the promise and the way he said it. No pleading, no apology, just fact. The preacher cleared his throat and hurried them along. Rings slid on. Rice got thrown. Somebody's cousin played "Love Me Tender" on a guitar with 2 busted strings. They drove away in Travis's rusted Ford, the same truck that had hauled her crying from her parents. Porched 2 weeks earlier, when she told them she was keeping the baby. The radio only caught one station, George Strait singing about Amarillo. Emily stared out the window at the flat nothing of West Texas and wondered if she'd just ruined 2 lives instead of 1. The first year was hard. The baby came early, little. Grace with Travis's dark eyes and Emily's stubborn chin. Colic nights, double shifts at the feed store. A trailer that leaked when the wind came from the north. Travis never complained. He'd come in from branding calves smelling of smoke and sweat, kiss the top of her head and take the screaming baby so Emily could sleep an hour. Some nights she woke to find him asleep in the rocking chair, Grace finally quiet against his chest, his big, rough hand cradling her like she was made of glass. Still, Emily didn't smile much. Not real ones. The polite kind for cashiers and church ladies, sure. But the kind that reached her eyes, those stayed buried. Then came the spring Grace turned 4. Drought had baked the ranch bone dry. The cattle were losing weight faster than they could sell them. Travis took extra work breaking broncs on weekends, came home with a limp and a busted rib he never mentioned. One Friday, he loaded Emily and Grace into the truck without a word. Just said, "Got something to show y'all." He drove west until the road turned to Caliche and the horizon opened wide. There, in the middle of nowhere, sat a patch of bluebonnets so thick it looked like God had spilled paint across the dirt, thousands of them waving in the wind. Travis killed the engine and got out. From the truck bed he pulled a blanket, a paper-sack lunch, and a little battery radio playing old Marty Robbins. Grace squealed and ran into the flowers. Emily stood frozen on the running board. Travis walked over, took her hand, and tugged her down into the blue. "I've been watering these by hand every night after you went to sleep," he said quietly. "Carried buckets from the stock tank. Figured 4 years was long enough for a man to keep a promise." Emily looked at the impossible field, then at the man who'd done it with cracked hands and no audience. Something broke open in her chest, warm and aching and alive. She laughed, really laughed, until tears came again. Only this time they tasted like joy. Travis pulled her close, bluebonnets brushing their jeans. "Told you I'd make you smile someday," he whispered into her hair. Grace ran circles around them, yelling, "Mama's happy! Daddy fixed it!" Out there under the wide Texas sky, with the flowers he'd grown from stubborn hope and midnight water runs, Emily smiled so big it hurt, and she never stopped again.